Today on the Railway Room, I'm building a Glyn Valley Tramway brake van in 009 from the Brooks 3D kit. Hello friends and welcome back to the Railway Room. So yes, today I'm going to be building up a Glyn Valley Tramway brake van in 009 using the kit from Brooks 3D. I've built up a few Brooks 3D kits so far and all of them have been very good. I've been very impressed, so hopefully this one is going to follow suit. Now the Glyn Valley Tramway had two of these brake vans, but very sadly neither of them have survived. However, in the alternative universe that my model railway lives in, one of them apparently has survived, because I'm about to make a model of it. Now, this kit comes in two different versions. One has fixed closed doors, and the other one has open movable doors. It's slightly more expensive, but that is the one that I've gone for because I think it's going to be a little bit more interesting. Perhaps a little bit more challenging to build. We will soon find out just how challenging. So without any further ado, let's get cracking on and have a look at the kit and see what you get in the box. Okay, so the kit arrives like this in a little clear plastic bag. So let's open it up and have a look. So we've got a second bag with some detailing parts. And here we've got the main body with wheels already attached, and it looks like they're metal wheels with plastic axles, so you should get decent running quality from that. And if you look on the inside here, you've got couplings attached to the floor there, and there's a stove on this side, and I think these are also part of the stoves on the inside there as well. And there's the roof, so it looks decently smooth on that, and you've got things, so this will only fit one way. If you look, this extended on that side and not on this side, and that will fit in the slightly extended side, presumably will go over the veranda, and that will then mean that this little locating lug here will be where the is directly above the stove, so that'll be where the chimney goes, because you've got two chimneys inside there. And what's inside the second bag of goodies? So we've got some doors, and maybe I'll just tip this out, that'll be easier. So we've got two nicely printed figures there, two guards, so presumably you're only going to use one of these, but it gives you a choice so that not everybody who's got one of these is going to have exactly the same person in it. And the nice thing is that it then gives you a second one that you can use somewhere else in the layout, or if you've got a different brake van from someone else. And what we got in here is a set of doors. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 half doors and 4 full-size doors. And you can see the half ones. You've got a nice hinge detail on the end as well, the handles. Again, it's tricky to see it at the moment. And these are the full height doors. You've got some little locating lugs on the back of those that will help where they're going to go. And if we look on the inside, you can see there's little indents there as to where they're going to go. There is, and then you've got some plastic glazing, and that's nicely printed so you can see exactly the correct sizes of them. That's very nice. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is cut the couplings and the chimney and also the stove, come to think of it, out of there, because I want to be able to paint all around there, and the stove's going to be in the way otherwise. And then I'll get outside and give it a quick spray of primer. So now with these I need to be very careful trying to get these out, but apparently if you just a bit of sideways pressure, they should just pretty much snap out. In fact, I'm wondering if Using my finger might be better. Oh, it feels like I've broken it, but it's only the supports that are broken. It's come away just nicely. And again, same thing. That does seem to be a good method to get hold of a fairly strong bit. Be careful where you're holding the body, and then just twist. And so we've got the stove here in this corner. Now you can just leave it in place as it is, but that is going to make it a little bit tricky to paint, a little bit awkward. Obviously if you're having the doors closed or pretty much closed, that doesn't really make much difference. I want to have my doors at least partly open so that we can see across there. So again, I'm just going to give it a bit of a twist. There, and it is attached on the top as well. And there's the stove. Now, according to his website, these prints will just take paint as they are. There's no need to primer them. Obviously, a lot of people do like primer in anyway. I will go and give them a spray in the old primer, if for no other reason than it's going to show up the detail so we can really see on camera just how nice this kit is. So the priming really helps to bring out the detail in there, even down to things like the little the lamp hooks on the sides, on the handrails, all the rivets, even things like the door handle on the inside, door there. Very, very nice indeed. So I'm not too sure what colour to go with for this, because obviously I'm not actually modelling the Glyn Valley Tramway, but a freelance preserve railway. So I don't necessarily want or need it to be in the exact Glyn Valley livery. But I do like the idea of having something that's sort of in the right ballpark, even if it's not necessarily 100% accurate. As far as I can tell, the livery was a dark green, so I think I'm going to go with that for the certainly the exterior, because that'll be quite different, make it stand out from the other brake vans that I've got. And I'm going to go with a dark brown on the interior. So I was quite pleased with the Vallejo chocolate brown that I used the other week, so I'm going to be using some of that again, and just going through the interior of the van with that. Okay, so I'm reasonably happy with that so far, so I'll just let that dry off. It shouldn't take too long because I'm using an acrylic. So the version of the kit that I've gone for is the one with the movable doors, which I think is a really cool feature. But what I do want to do is get them all the doors painted up before I worry about trying to get them fixed in. So I'm just painting up the insides in the same brown, and then I'll use the same green to paint the exteriors as well. Now these half doors that go on the veranda end, there is a handle only on one side, and I believe the handle there is going to go on the outside, whereas the full height doors for the main part of the van, you've got these recessed planks that's going to go on the outside. The inside, there are two little locating lugs. I don't know if they show up on here at all. I'm not sure if they're actually part of the design for fitting and moving the doors, or if that's part of the supports that's left that are going to need to be cut off. I'm not sure at the moment, so I'm leaving them where they are, and I'll see later when I come to fix the doors whether they're going to be needed or not, or if they need to be cut off. So for now I'm just going to quickly paint up the interior of these doors. There is a spare one of these full-size ones and there's 2 spare of the half-size ones. I'm going to paint them all up anyway, just in case I do need them. It'll save a bit of time. So as I've said before, I'm not necessarily too worried about this being the exact right livery for the Glyn Valley, because I'm not actually modelling the Glyn Valley. So the green that I'm going to be trying out is this Revel Aqua Fern Green, number 360. I'm going to give this a try and see what that looks like. I may change my mind afterwards, but we'll give it a go. I think it looks quite nice. I think there's some potential to it. Okay, so let's just see how this comes out. And looking at that so far, I'm pretty pleased with it actually. I think that is a nice shade of green. I think it really works. As I can say, I don't know exactly how accurate it is to the actual Glyn Valley, but I don't need it to be accurate. I just need it to be nice and pleasing to my eyes and my sensibility. And it actually is that. I'm pretty happy. I'm going to carry on with this green, so I'm going to go around all the other sides, and also going to do the exteriors of the doors. What I will probably do though is just pop the couplings out so that I'm not getting my green all over the couplings. So now I've got the 3 base colours in, I'm just going to go in and pick out some of the details, such as these handrails and the lamp irons there. I'm not sure exactly what colour they should be. They might look quite nice in black maybe, or some kind of silvery metallic colour. I think I'm going to go with brass. I think that's going to look quite nice. So I'm using this Vallejo brass acrylic paint. Just using the tip of a cocktail stick. Yeah, kind of like that. So I'm just going to go around now and pick out all of the extra handrails and door handles and things like that. So I've got all the detailed brasswork painted up there, including the door handles on the inner door. So the next thing I think I'm going to try and do is to fix in the opening the full height main doors. So you've got 4 of these doors. There's 5 supplied, so if you snap one you've got a spare. And if we look on the front, the thicker bar that goes at the bottom, and there's a thinner one that goes at the top. And on the inside you can just about see the runners where they go. Now I'm a little bit nervous about putting these in, but I'm going to follow the instructions on his website and hopefully it's going to work. So he says apply them in the centre and then push them to the side, and to put the top of the door in first and then bend the rear into position. So let's see how we get on. So there we go, that's the top in place, and the rear bent in a lot. Oh, and there we go, and it's in. I was a little bit nervous, but we made it. And hopefully, yeah, I will then just gently slide across. It does say that it's not designed to be moved frequently, but to be mostly to be positioned into a particular open or close, but you can slide them across. It also suggests a bit of HB pencil in the grooves will help it if you want to be sliding them across more frequently. One thing I will notice here is that the act of putting this into the bottom has scratched the paintwork on the floor, so I am going to have to go in and touch that up afterwards. So let's just see if I can get all 4 in without breaking one. So, get the top into place, and then gently click in, and hopefully it will slide across. Okay, so I've tidied up the paint on the inside there, and next I've got the stove painted up, so I'm just going to glue that back roughly onto the supports in that corner. Okay, so before I go any further, the next thing I want to do is just give it a quick black wash. Just to give it a little bit more life. So start with this side. And I think I'm just going to want to try and slide the doors across. Let's see if I can get this one. Now I could potentially run other washes across it as well, but I'm not wanting to have it too heavily weathered, because I am modelling a preserved line, so I just want a little bit of use, but nothing too heavy. I want it fairly clean, so I'm going to keep just at that level with the weathering. I'm not going to go any further with it. So this is the piece of the glazing that comes with it. So I don't know if it shows up very well on the camera, but we've got 3 pieces for the inside windows and 6 pieces for the ends. So you've got 1 spare because there's 2 right on the end, and then there's 2 either side of the internal door. So it's very good that there's a spare in case you have any issues. So I'm just going to cut along the lines, cut these out, and then see if I can get these dropped into position. Okay, so I've got one of the longer pieces of interior glazing, and there's a little slot designed for it. And it just slides down into position, and then we can pop a little bit of glue on to hold it in place, and the other windows are going to do exactly the same way. That's pretty painless. It's a very nice design actually. Okay, so I'm going to have a go at painting up the figures that come with it. It comes with 2, which I think is very generous. And like the whole thing, it says they're good to take paint already, there's no need for priming. Normally I would be priming the figures, but I thought I'd try out something a little different to see what happens. So I'm just going to go ahead and start painting them directly onto the plastic. We'll see whether it works out or not. So the first thing, start with the skin. I'm using this Tamiya flat flesh, and I'm just going to put a bit of wet on my brush just to thin it out a little bit, so I don't, hopefully, obscure too many of the details. And I'm just going to go in, and it doesn't matter if it overspills onto the non-flesh sections at this point in time. So I guess one of the advantages of priming is that it does make it a lot easier to see the details, so you can work out exactly what you're going to do in terms of painting, whereas at the moment I'm just kind of winging it and can't quite see what's going on in there. But I'm going to sort of working in outwards, so from the skin the next thing I'm going to try and do is going to be his shirt. So I'm just going to use this Ravel matte blue to try and get in a bit of a shirt going on. But you're only really going to be able to see a bit around the collar. So working inside out, the next thing is going to be the trousers and the jacket. Well, this is a kind of a grey-greeny colour. This is a Humbrol 253. I'm not sure what this is actually specifically called, but I quite like the shade of that for some working trousers. So I'm going to see what we think of this going in. And it doesn't matter if I get a little bit across the bottom of the jacket. At this point I just want to make sure that all of the trouser part is covered in. Now, to be fair, I do think it would be quite reasonable to do both the trousers and the jacket in the same colour. That would be quite realistic, but I do want to mix it up a bit, try not to make it look a little bit too dull, and just to kind of try and add a little dynamism to it. But I will do the jacket and his cap in the same colour. The one I'm going to go with is this Humbrol acrylic number 91, which is a black-green matte. So let's see how that comes out. This is a paint that I've not used before, and I am just going to use a little bit of extra water on the brush just to thin it out a little bit more. And to be fair, this is very thin. I might have been okay just using it neat, but that's not really a problem, because you want it thin so you're not obscuring the details, and it's easy enough to come back in and do a second coat, which is what I'm going to do. And of course I just realised something, that working from the inside out, the one thing I have forgotten to do is the hair. So I'm going to pause and do the hair. I'm going to go with a kind of slightly grey colour for the hair. carry on with the black green. And I'm just going to give the slightest hint of a black wash. Across him as well, just to try and pick out some of the details. And then just using a really light kind of grey colour with the driest of dry brushes. Just kind of gently brush across. And then the last thing I'll do is, once the rest of him is dry, just stick him on his head, hopefully. So I can paint the shoes. And there we have it. Not a super amazing job. Certainly there are a lot of people out there who are better at painting figures than me, but I'm reasonably happy with that. I don't think it's going to look too bad once he's in position. Okay, so with the glazing in place, getting nearly done now. The last bit I want to do is the roof. So I just painted that quickly over into a matte black. If we look on the back, it's nicely structured in there so that it will hopefully hold its shape. And we can see on this end these bars extend slightly across, whereas these ends are flat, so that's the extended end is going to go over the balcony end, kind of like that. And then you've got a little notch here, which is where the chimney is going to go, so that makes the chimney directly above the stove. So just going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of the chimney. And then just hopefully fasten it over the little notch. And then just need to twist it around. Just want to try and make sure that the chimney is nice and vertical. And then the roof is just going to snap into place. Now we can glue it into position. To be honest, I think for the moment I'm just going to leave it loose, because it's a good friction fit, and having it loose like that does give me options to be able to get inside if I want to add any extra detailing or anything like that. You know, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a kind of a light grey wash across the roof. Hopefully. I'm wondering if I'm going to regret this, but I can easily paint it back over with the black if needed. And I think I went a little bit too soon with that, because the glue wasn't quite dry on my chimney. I've just pulled that off. but I think that just adds a little bit of extra texture to it. And I'll just reaffix my chimney. So now one of the things that impresses me most about the movable door version of this kit is that these little half doors onto the balcony actually come with genuine, fully functioning hinges. But we can see maybe on the edge of this door, you've got these little spindly hinges, and then on the inside of the doorway is those. So these are actually just going to drop down in. Now this is quite fiddly to do, and I think I am going to proper struggle to do this on the camera where we can actually see what's going on. I've in addition to fully painting up the doors, I have given them a bit of a black wash as well, so that they'll match, hopefully, the rest of the body. And yeah, so theoretically that should just drop down in. No, that's not quite got it. No. There, just like that. There we have a genuinely functioning swinging door. How nice is that? I think that's really lovely, incredibly impressive for a kit like this. Yeah, that's just wonderful. So I'll put the other door in. I probably won't do that on the camera because it's quite tricky to do. But I think we're getting there. I'm really pleased. Okay, so with the doors on both sides, so I'm just going to glue the guard into position, hopefully. Okay, so I've got my guard glued into position there, and the roof on, and I think I'm going to call that pretty much done. Obviously I can add some extra details to the inside, maybe like a seat, some baggage, something like that, but yeah, as the kit comes, that's it. I think that's looking really good. Let's take it up to the layout and just see it in situ. So there we have it down on the layout, and I have to say I'm very pleased with how this has come out. I think it does look very nice indeed. Maybe it just needs a seat or something going inside the van there, and perhaps if I could get hold of some transfers, that might just be the final touch, but for now certainly I'm very pleased with it. I do think it looks very much the part. Let's see what it's like in motion. And so it runs very nicely as well. And those couplings of Brooks do seem to work very nicely as well. I'm very pleased with those. So there we have it then. That is the Glyn Valley Tramway brake van in 009 from the Brooks 3D kit. I hope you'll agree with me, it's a really super kit. I'm very pleased with it. And I very much look forward to making up more of the Brooks 3D kits in the future as well. So hopefully you found the video interesting and or useful. If you did, you know, the usual comment, like, subscribe and all of those bananas. And hopefully I'll see you again in the next video. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Thank you. Goodbye.